I can feel death in this room. You have killed, and you will kill again. Ah!
What was that?
Welcome to Movie Umpers. I am Bob Sham.
I am Angela.
The sounds you hear may be dogs.
More dogs tonight than normal, probably.
It's like a fucking rescue center here sometimes.
We didn't get any more dogs.
Yeah.
But we have a dog in the room that's usually not.
But we got more than we would ever recommend.
Yes. I would not recommend having as many animals as
And you want a bearded dragon on top of all this. Well, I think we need a few less before we ever get a bearded dragon.
No. But I do want a bearded dragon.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. We're in the stretch. Happy Hanukkah to those.
Yeah, Kwanzaa,
Diwali.
Happy holidays.
It's after Diwali. Happy all that shit.
Yeah, happy shit.
So, I think it's pretty obvious what kind of movies we're going to be watching all December long. Our theme called The Most Wonderful Time of the Year. Every Monday, we often, not always, but often talk about a retro movie, a classic. And I bet you could probably guess. We're going for the nostalgic heavy hitters. I bet you could guess which ones they are. Your White Christmases, your
Miracle on 34th Street.
Yes. I watched all those movies for the first time last year.
Yeah.
And I got a lot to say about them. And I'm excited to get to them, to put our take on these old favorites.
I watched them a ton when I was a kid.
But for the rest of the month, there's no shortage of Christmas movies out there, right? So I'm like, what do I want to do? Do I want it to be a little typical? Do I want it to be a little offbeat? I kind of went for offbeat. I think this is a good start to the season.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to. All the non-classic Christmas movies that I picked up to actual Christmas all have a murder that takes place in them. At least one.
Yeah.
I didn't really mean for that. I mean, a couple of them are slashers.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. The next slash we're talking about is more of a pure Christmas movie slasher. This is one in which the essential moment happens on Christmas.
Yes.
And it all connects.
So there's some imagery throughout that's
yes.
Christmassy imagery.
But I mean, if you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie, I think Deep Red by Dario Argento is as much a Christmas movie. Deep Red by Dario Argento. Written by Bernardino Zapponi and Dario Argento, starring David Hemmings, Daria Nicolodi, Gabrielle Levia, Masha Maril. David Hemmings, I don't think you've seen this movie, but he is the lead in the movie Blow Up, which was a murder mystery that is being solved by a fashion photographer.
You told me about that movie.
Yeah.
No, I've not seen it. And which one is he, the main guy?
Yeah, he's the main guy in that. The first time I ever did mushrooms, I watched this movie. And after the movie was done, I found myself walking around the streets of this town I used to live in, like the exact same way David Hemmings walked in that movie. So he's an English actor, but everyone else in this movie is Italian. Daria Nicolodi was Dario Argento's lover. They had a baby together.
Which one?
She's the reporter.
Okay.
Gianna.
Who
I thought was the killer through the whole fucking movie.
So did I. I thought she was the killer from the first moment.
Yeah. And I think we were purposely misdirected.
1000% misdirected.
It was kind of hard to tell.
It was very well done, honestly, because even at the end, I was still like, she's still got to be part of it.
Well, the thing is, I was trying to not use my current movie sensibilities, because I thought, Dario Argento, all about this shot structure. His movies feel like a collage of images, the settings and everything. Those seem to be the most important.
Yeah.
So I underestimated the story in which how deep the revelation would be. And I was legitimately surprised at who it was, because I thought it was the reporter up until it was actually revealed who it was.
And then you thought we knew who it was until we realized we didn't still know who it was.
Yeah.
Like, they give you a reveal that ends up not being the actual answer. It's really cool. And I agree too, because one of the things we had said early on watching this is how beautiful it is and how you just have to be okay with never knowing.
Yeah, we kind of expected vagueness,
Yeah,
I mean,
I expected it to kind of end with some mystery.
We're not we've seen Suspiria, but we're not very versed in Dario. We kind of know his style, and we appreciate what he does bring to the movies, at least at the time of his prime,
And we respect, like, how influential he's been, and it's a big deal.
Oh, and the producer, Salvatore Argento, that's his dad. He's produced a lot of his movies. And this movie was kind of transitioning into the more, spookier kind of things.
Wasn't there also a Claudio Argento?
Yeah, it's his brother.
Mm-hmm. Family affair. I think his daughter is an actress as well.
Yes, that is him and Daria Nicolodi's kid. Like many Italian movies at the time, this movie is completely dubbed.
And then sometimes it looks okay, and sometimes it looks so bad.
Well, most of the main actors could speak English and did.
Yeah.
Of course, David Hemmings is an English actor.
Yeah, so he's a piano player. And he has a friend who's also a piano player. But there's this interesting, like, conversation about class there, because the main character is the piano player because he loves music. He's a teacher, and he plays music for enjoyment.
Yeah, he calls him bourgeois.
Yeah, and his friend,
He's more of a workman guy. He plays at, like, a diner.
What is his name?
Carlo.
I was going to say Claude. It's not right. So Carlo, Carlo plays because he has to. He plays to make money. His mother obviously spoke not a lick of English.
Yes, for sure.
Or if she did, her accent was so strong that they couldn't use her voice because she never matched up.
But the movie opens on a scene. It's Christmas time, and a murder happens, and we see a knife on a floor and the feet of
a child. With knee socks and
appears to be
black
a little
patent
girl.
leather shoes.
And the setting is great. His shots are. I love the way he thinks about his shots a lot. I like the thought that he puts into that. So yeah, it cuts to a psychic speaking at a theater. She's suddenly overwhelmed by dark thought.
Something strange and sharp, like the prick of a thorn. It upset me. But it's all right now. I can feel death.
We often get shots that seem to be from the viewpoint of the killer.
Yeah, you're getting like killer POV.
And the psychic is picking up on the evil, vengeful thoughts. So that's when we meet the main character, played by David Hemmings. And he meets his friend Carlo on the streets. Carlo's hammered drunk. And they have their conversation. They define their characters. And then David Hemmings is walking to his apartment. And he sees a woman, the psychic, getting fucking murdered. And he runs up there, and I think he lives in that same building,
He
right?
lives above her. He lives in the apartment above.
So he runs into the building, and he's going down he's making his way to this corridor, and he sees all these crazy paintings, like she's an artist.
They're creepy as fuck.
But he goes in, and he pulls her off the glass, and
she's been thrown through a window, and she's like, cut in the window.
Yeah, impaled on the glass of her own window, as well as stabbed multiple times. So he pulls her off of the glass, and all the blood, for purposeful reasons, it looks like bright red paint,
tempera paint blood.
Yeah,
but you know what? I love it.
There's something
about it. There is something very cool about it. it's obviously not real, but it looks really good.
It does.
And the fact that it's
pops.
so bright.
It visually pops
it
strong.
makes it like more shocking.
And that's the thing with an Argento movie. The visuals, you can't really harp on that because it's the way he wants things, scenes, and environments to pop and come out.
There's these tableaus, like when the guys are first like establishing their characters, you pointed out that they're standing in front of this piano bar. No one in the bar is moving.
Yeah,
like they're probably talking, but they're moving. It's very slight. And that happens a couple different times.
Yeah, like the background is almost like he's standing in front of like a live painting.
Yeah.
The diner looking kind of like that Nighthawks image that, we all know.
So he calls the cops. And Gianna shows up and she's a reporter, and immediately they're like, how do you even know about this? And she's like, everyone knows this woman was so popular, and she's so like over her. Oh, before this, you do see this very close-up shots of all these very tiny toys and this hand manipulating them. Then you see this like eyeliner, this very thick, dark eyeliner being put on, and it's such a zoomed in close-up that you just know the eyeliner is important. So I felt like I was on eyeliner watch for the rest of the movie.
Yes.
Gianna walked in, I was like, eyeliner. The first time we saw
Carlo's lover, yeah.
I was
He's
like,
wearing
eyeliner. And then, you know what though? Didn't even clock it on the actual killer.
Yeah, no.
Because I didn't ever consider that could be the killer.
All the scenes in which...
He tricked me.
All the scenes of the gloved hands is Dario himself. He just thought it'd be easier to do it himself than to explain to the actor.
That's actually really brilliant, because why not?
And he seemed to have little hands, so it worked out. I think
and it also leads to the mystery of the whole thing.
We kind of did clock that this was likely a woman pretty early on.
Yes.
And I thought it was Gianna, the reporter, the whole fucking time.
Because she's like tall and slender. And this is what's weird is like, it seems like a tall, slender man whenever you see like a glimpse of, it's this person in a brown trench coat. And the guy sees him run away when he's like getting the woman off the window. And he actually, in one scene, like there's the trench coat man, and then also his friend is in the same shot. And they just assume it's a man.
This reporter plasters our lead's name all over the fucking newspaper. And the next day she's like, oh, sorry, I'm like, blew up your whole fucking spot.
Yes, by the way, I wanted to thank you. It's always nice to let the murderer know who you are.
Oh, that's okay.
So she's like, well, I'll help you solve the murder. It's good for me anyway. Because now he's driven. He's a pianist, but now he's trying to solve a murder.
They hang out together all day.
Yeah.
And then they get to, I don't know, I guess it's his house. And he's like changing clothes to go out, and she's hanging out with him, and she's like, where are we going? And he's like, I'm going without you. And then they get into this whole conversation about how she's like a liberated woman.
Some of these Italian movies, when, especially it's maybe the dubbed over effect or the overall delivery, the acting seems very B-movie-ish.
Yeah.
And we're not B-movie experts. We kind of go in and out. We know a little bit. But I noticed that, some people have reacted to our Halloween episodes, which feature a lot of B-movie players, like Tom Atkins in Halloween 3.
Oh yeah, people love him.
Yeah, people love Tom Atkins, but honestly, that was really Halloween 3 is our introduction to Tom Atkins, and we just didn't find that his overall performance felt necessary.
We didn't already have a relationship with him as an actor. I could see how if you did and you loved him in something else, you might just love seeing him.
Although that whole movie is crazy bonkers anyway, but
I do love it.
Well, we gave it a good score. It's the second best movie in the franchise, according to us.
Yes.
So that's just an example where sometimes we fall different on other people who view it. Like people who are really into like the B horror and stuff like that.
I love that stuff way more than you.
They kind of move past a lot of those details, those little acting details that maybe I might harp a little more on.
I sometimes love them. Like there's a particular line in this movie that I was telling people about today that's just delivered so oddly that we'll get to it.
Well, let's get to that now. He's in his apartment and he knows someone is in there and he's being stalked, and he goes in and he shuts his door and locks it.
Yeah.
And someone's in the apartment and they play the children's song. The phone rings and he picks up and he's like, I don't know who this is, but someone's trying to kill me.
And then he goes,
there's somebody in the house. He's like, absolutely trying to kill me,
They're actually trying to kill me,
And then you hear this gargled voice that's like, I'll get you sooner or later.
Yeah, it's really creepy. But it's Gianna on the phone, and somehow they're just tied together, but it just seemed a little too convenient.
How does he discover the house? I mean, he finds that book of folklore,
so yeah,
ghost stories and shit.
He goes back to talk to the men who were in the theater with the psychic again, or telepath.
Right. Which he initially meets them at the psychic's funeral.
Yes, he meets them at the psychic's funeral. He then goes to the theater to talk to them about what happened. And then, so he goes to see them and he's like, listen, someone came to me and they played this song and kind of gives some details. And the man goes, you know what this sounds like? It reminds me of this story in this book of folklore. And he gives him the author's name, I think, or the name of the book, and tells him where to go find it. And so he goes and finds this book, and it's this book about like true folklore things. And this author who wrote it has a picture of the actual house.
Would they hear the children's song play, a ghost play the children's song or sing it or whatever as they walk by the house?
The killer goes and kills the author.
Right.
Whoever's doing the murdering knows what he's finding. Like,
yes.
They have to be someone that he's
watched.
Communicating with or is close to him, because they're following him and they knew that he was going to go see her. So they killed her before he could go see her. He actually found her body and ran.
He was the first one to find it, but he never called the police.
Because then, that's 2 dead women in a row. They're going to think it's him.
But you still might want to be like...
I would have called the cops.
And because eventually he's like, oh, I'm sure they found her by now. But yeah, he never said anything.
Yeah, it was weird.
But she did try to like write something on the wall in the steam because she was drowned in scalding water.
Yeah, and then one of the other men who was in the theater that day, the other of the two, the
goes
one talking about the book, the other
investigate.
guy, he goes to investigate. He sees whatever she wrote, and then he's dead.
Yeah, he gets killed later.
Yeah.
A pretty cool murder scene there. But so, yeah, he ends up going to this house. And it's abandoned. We also meet the landlord and his daughter, and I think the daughter's a misdirect too.
Yeah, I do too.
And the landlord, he gets the daughter to help the guy, go over there and open the house up. But he also scolds the kid, and apparently she had impaled a lizard. Now, according
with a hairpin. Now,
according to production, they said that was an effect. That wasn't it looks like a real fucking lizard impaled. But the production claims that it was an effect because some countries won't release it if it shows like you actually did something to an animal. And in the 70s, there is a few like deep cut movies out there where in the first Friday the 13th, like they actually like chop a snake in half. Like in the very first one that came out in the late 70s. Kind of looked like they really impaled a lizard. According to production, this was faked.
I don't know how.
That looked crazy real.
Because also he was flailing.
Yeah. There is a misdirect there that the daughter might have something to do with this, or that she's twisted or warped.
From living across the street from this fucked house.
Yeah. He's in the house and he manages to chisel away parts of this wall that show a drawing. And the child drawings we see throughout this movie are really fucking cool. But he unveils a scene of a small kid holding a knife, like stabbing someone in front of a Christmas tree. And he kind of stops. You figured he'd keep going, but he stops and he goes to leave. And as he leaves, another chunk, we see the camera on the wall, and another chunk falls off to show that there was someone else there that night. We know that that's the scene that opens the whole movie. So he fucks around and he decides to go back to the house again. And this time he knows to just start tearing down this wall. He tears open the wall. And he looks in and he sees a fucking skeleton sitting in a chair of a man. Basically the scene that we opened the movie with, you still see the Christmas tree.
It's so creepy.
It's really cool. The murder that happened is essentially preserved, and it was covered up by covering up the whole room. It's a whole mansion.
I have so many questions, because that was like a really well-built wall. First, he almost kills himself because he tries to climb around the outside of the building because he's looking at the photo of the house, and then he's looking at the house, and he realizes that in the photo there's windows that is just a wall now. Yeah. So he's trying to beat at it from the outside. And he almost falls, so he goes, I gotta go inside and beat on the wall.
Did the new landlord never get like an initial housing layout of this place?
I don't think he cared.
I guess not.
He
certainly didn't upkeep the place.
Well, someone else lived there for a long time as well. I guess never thought there was any ghosts in there. But how do you get someone to build a wall around a dead man and them never know? But whatever.
Yeah. Well, we always got to take a few leaps in movies like this, right? So he recruits Gianna, who I still think is the killer.
Oh, but he wakes up with his head in her lap.
Oh, he got clubbed over the head.
And the building is on fire.
Yeah, they burnt the fucking building down.
And that's especially when I thought it was her, because he had called her to tell her, or he told her where he was going. And then she shows up and she's like, I came to see what was going on with you. Found him outside while the house was on fire. He realizes that the drawings,
someone identifies the drawings as being like drawings that are at this middle school. So he and Gianna go there and he manages to find the drawings that have been archived, and he sees the image that is a lot like the drawing, but he figures it out because the little girl emulates the drawings that she had found because she goes to this school and she saw the drawings. Little
creepy girl, yeah.
Yeah, and she liked them because she's a creep, so she emulates the drawings.
And when he found the real drawing, he obviously then saw the name associated with the drawing.
And then he's like, I know who did it, who it was. Gianna gets separated. Well, she's like, I'm going to go get the police, okay? They break into this school, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And then he approaches her and she is stabbed. And then this little doll, mechanical doll. I can't remember actually when the mechanical doll showed up, if it was here or earlier. But a mechanical doll shows up, and it's like the creepiest fucking thing. And you had asked me fairly recently, like, what movies I thought were truly scary.
Yes.
And I don't know if there's a movie like all the way through that's like, wow, this is scary. But there are often things in movies that strike me as actually being terrifying. This is the scariest part of this movie, to see this mechanical thing just run up. I think this happened actually when the friend of the psychic was killed, which was a strange scene. But this thing's face looks like, it's like this grinning little devil boy, like this little stinker, and it just runs up.
And then it's like a robot.
So the killer almost has this vibe like a Golden Age Batman villain at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like early noir villain kind of.
Yeah.
Gianna gets stabbed and he gets her taken care of, but he knows who the killer is. And of course, Carlo is there holding a gun onto him.
I read the name. Carlo.
I got here late. Too bad.
Well, so now what are you gonna do?
Kill you. I'm sorry, 'cause I like you. But I have to kill you. I told you to stay out of it.
Carlo looks fucking wrecked. And that's when the police roll in.
Hey, he's over there! By the wall! You, hold it!
After Carlo is killed and we're moving on, you kept saying Carlo was on the street when the psychic was killed. You kept saying that.
Yeah.
And then the lead is played by David Hemmings. It's like, wait a minute. There's no way Carlo killed the psychic.
He was playing the piano.
And then there was a thing where he noticed that a painting was missing when he was going up to rescue the psychic.
Yes.
So he walks up and he realizes that there was never a painting, but that he was looking at a reflection of a painting in a mirror, or what he thought he was. And then he realized that he actually probably saw the killer's face.
Well, and
in a mirror and thought it was a painting.
When he walked past it, in that very first time that he walked past it, I remember saying, "Oh, that's fucking creepy."
Yeah. Did we see?
Did we
see her face?
Yes.
Well,
there was a woman's face, but I thought it was just a creepy ass painting.
When he goes to investigate that room again,
it stands out because everything else is in grayscale, and it's the only thing that had any color.
Yeah. So we actually saw the killer.
Her deep red lips.
Before we got to the end. And then sure enough, he turns around, and it's Carlo's mother, who we saw once in a scene.
Damn you! I hate you! Carlo had nothing to do with any of this, and you killed him.
And Carlo did not kill these people. He was protecting his mother. We think it's a little girl's feet at the very beginning, but it was Carlo and
He's
little
a little fancy boy.
and little fancy boy stockings because they were little rich kids. And it was actually his mother that stabbed his father to death right in front of her because his father was going to send her back to like a mental institution.
Yeah, so without saying it, obviously she'd gone to the hospital multiple times. I think they were giving her electroshock therapy because timing of this would have made sense for that to be happening. Because if your wife was unhappy or your daughter or your sister, whoever was unhappy, you could send her to the hospital and have electroshock therapy. It happened to men too, but it was way more common with women. It was like if a woman got depressed, you shocked her, and then she was a happy little housewife for like a year. And then you had to do it over again.
In her case, made her worse and turned her into a fucking serial killer.
Exactly. So it's this whole thing where like, it's the dad's fault.
Yeah. So it was. So he had it coming.
But poor little Carlo.
Yeah.
And he actually, the part that makes you think that it was him and that it was the child in the scenario that killed is because he did pick up the bloody knife.
Yeah.
And like stared at it. And that's the picture he drew, was him holding the bloody knife next to his stabbed father with his mother behind.
So Carlo's mother, revealed to be the killer, tussles with David Hemmings, and she gets her chain lapped onto like an elevator going up or something.
It gets caught.
And the way Argento, I love the way Argento actually represents these murders and death. Like they're very, like it's very creative and a great way to do it if you're not like, you know, now a lot of it's like CGI budgets and shit. But this was actually like a very cool, stylish and creative way to represent these murders.
He's an artist.
Yeah, he is.
And I know you could argue that like all filmmakers are artists, but he's on a different level.
He is different. There's something different about it.
He's a visual artist, and his medium is just movies.
Apparently,
but it could be anything.
He's still in his deep old age. He is still apparently making movies, but
hasn't he made hundreds of movies?
I don't know about that many, but a lot. But apparently, his stylized magic is not the same as it used to be. If you kind of look through reviews of his movies, they start to tank real hard as he gets deeper into the 90s. So, yeah. But at one time, this dude was kind of showing you how to do it in a cool way with some interesting visuals in an artistic way. Yeah. It's got to be hard to emulate Argento because you're going to look like you're just ripping him the fuck off if you like, you know, take too much of his style, you know. Let's rate this movie. You're gonna give it 1 through 5. I'll give it 1 through 5 combined for best out of 10.
Yeah,
this is definitely one of Argento. This and Suspiria are probably his most highly regarded movies.
Mm-hmm. People usually have heard of Suspiria.
Yeah, this one's a little deeper, no pun intended. But what do you give this movie?
I'm gonna give this movie a 3.5.
I'm gonna go up 0.25 from you, 3.75. So there you go. Take a look. Deep Red. In the same league as Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Amongst Thieves, Ferris Bueller, and Go Zoo.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So check the show notes for links and other places to find us. What do you think about Dario Argento's movies? What's your favorite? This is on the top of a lot of Argento fans' list. And it is quite good, quite fun. Hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, say whatever you'd like. And we're just getting Christmas time started, all right?
Death to all traitors.